there, and welcome back to another edition of Miss Harrell's Science Lab. I'm so excited, guys. I'm super excited to continue to learn about the process of weathering and what it can do to the Earth's surface and how it can change rocks over a period of time. So, today we're going to continue to learn about slow changes that occur to the Earth's surface. And today you're going to learn about a new process, but I don't want to give it away yet. I don't. So what we're going to do is, what's that sound? Do you hear that? Can you hear that sound? I hear it too. I wonder what that sound could be. And why am I whispering? I don't know. Let's just see. What do you think that sound could be? I want you to think about it. Any guesses? What do you think? If you said that you thought it was sand blowing in the wind, you are so right. Oh my goodness, you guys are geniuses. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now that you know that's the sound of desert sand blowing in the wind, I'm going to play that audio for you again. And now what we're going to do is we're going to be using our visualizing skills. That's something that you've learned in reading. Does anyone remember? What does it mean when you're visualizing? Let's see. Visualizing. If I think back to the word, that means I'm going to be creating a picture in my mind. Exactly. So you're going to be closing your eyes, and I'm going to play that audio for you again. And what you're going to do is you're going to create like a movie in your mind based on that sound. And you're going to think about what could be happening as that sound is playing out loud. What picture, what video are you creating in your mind that goes with the sound that you're hearing? Are you ready? Okay, I need everyone to close their eyes. Yes, that means you. Close your eyes. I see you. Close those eyes. You ready? Okay, let's close our eyes on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. I still see your eyes closed. Okay, close your eyes. You ready? Okay, let's play the sound again. Okay, you ready? Let's go ahead. Okay. Now that you know the sound of the clip that we just shared again is the desert sound. Now I want you to think about this question. How could the desert sand blowing in the wind cause damage to a surrounding area? How could it change the land? That's something I want you to think about. And I want you to have that conversation with your teacher as well as some of the other children in your class. And I want you to think about how could it cause any type of damage? And if it does cause damage, how can it create and cause damage to a surrounding area? Because I would love to know. Because today, what we're going to do is we're going to do an investigation later on. And with the investigation, we're going to be learning about how can sand blowing in the wind affect land? How can it affect an area of land? And if it does affect it, what are the effects of the sand impacting land and the surrounding area? So we're going to be doing our investigation. But I want you to just have this conversation with your classmates, okay? And then I'll come back. I promise. I'll come back, okay? I'll see you guys later. Guys, I'm back. I told you I was coming back. You guys didn't believe me, right? You know I was going to come back. I all love doing science experiments with you guys and just talking about new things. So let's go ahead and continue our conversation. So you should have had a conversation with your classmates and your teachers about the sound that the wind makes and how that sound of the desert sand could cause damage to the surrounding area, as well as how it can cause damage to the land. So what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is I want you to look at this image. Take a look at this image. Okay, what do you see in this image? Okay. I see sand. I see a house that's really close to the water and the sand. So I want you to think about how could this area be an issue for this house? Look at it again. Okay. I would think it's really close to the water. The water may hit the house, and the sand blowing in the wind could actually hit the house too. Is that what you guessed? Oh my goodness. You guys, get out of my brain. You're thinking the same thing I think. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. So now I want you to think, how do you think the sand hitting the house could really have a great effect on this house? What lasting effects could result in what the house could look like over a period of time? What could happen? Well, I think maybe the painting on the house could eventually deteriorate, so it won't be as bright. Maybe the windows could eventually break over a period of time, because think about, if the wind is blowing really, really hard, if you have a tornado or a hurricane, it's bringing up all of the debris of the seashells, of the pebbles in the sand. And if the wind is strong enough, it could eventually maybe break the windows, they could shatter, it could maybe affect the roof of the house. These are things that could happen over a period of time because that house is sitting right on that water. Think about when we've seen reports of how a tornado and a hurricane with its strong winds can affect surrounding areas. It can create floods. It can also create damage to many houses. So we've seen images of this before. So what we're going to do first is I want you to look at a little investigation I'm going to do. So let me show you. I built a little roof. You like my roof? And some siding right here. Here are my post-its. And what we're going to do today is I'm going to imitate what could happen to a roof with the siding when there is strong wind that is coming really forceful onto the siding. What could happen? I want you to first make a hypothesis. What do you think is going to happen to the siding of my house? Think about it. Okay, so I want you to keep that hypothesis. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my blow dryer. And what I'm going to do is this blow dryer is going to imitate the wind blowing. And I'm going to show you what could happen to the siding of the house when you have strong wind blowing. Okay, so we're first going to start on low. We're not going to do it too high quite yet. But let's just go slow. You notice what's happening to the siding. Oh, one fell off, okay. All right, now let's go high. Ready? Long. So, was your hypothesis correct? Look at that, guys. I had one, two, three, four sidings, four pieces of siding that fell off my roof. So this is what can really happen to a house if you have wind that's blowing so hard and so forcefully up against something. So just imagine if you had all that sand that's so close to a beach house and it's blowing at that house. Wow, think about the effects and what could happen to that house over time. That's what we're going to figure out today in our investigation. Are you ready? Because I am so ready. Okay, so let's go with the materials that you're going to need for your experiment today. Let's look at them. Okay, so of course you'll need a container. You're going to need something to put all these materials in. Okay, and then we're going to need, of course, sand, because part of our big question is how is the sand going to affect the house? Okay, so we have our sand. Then you're going to need a straw. Straw? Why are we gonna need a straw? That's weird. I guess we'll see. Then you're going to need something that's going to mimic a house. So maybe if you have a little toy house, or maybe you have a juice box, you have a little container, anything that's going to mimic a house, okay? So we're going to need all those materials, but we're going to make sure that they stay contained in this surrounding area, okay? So I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and build your beach house, okay? So we have to also think about what is it going to look like. Let's go back to that picture, okay? So if we look at the picture, we have the sand, and then we have a little bit of space, and then we have our house. So when you are creating your model, make sure you have your sand right in front, and then you have your house. So that way it's really, really close, okay? Close to the house, but not touching the house, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of time to create your model, and then you can actually walk me through how I'm going to create my model, okay? So let's see how I'm going to create my model with all of these materials. All right, here we go. Now that I have finished my house, as you can see, I have my sand here, I have my rocks, I have my tree and my house. So yes, there is a Redskins house. Of course, we know they're no longer called the Redskins. They're called the Washington team. So you know this is old. So as you can see, my sand is not quite touching my house. There's a little bit of space. So when we talked about materials, we also talked about a straw. And I asked you, what do you think we were going to use this straw for? What are we going to be using the straw for? Well, we're going to be using the straw to blow at the sand. This will represent the wind blowing at the sand on the beach. Remember, when you blow, to make sure your straw doesn't touch the sand, okay? So you can angle it, or you can kind of blow at the sand, but don't put it in the sand and don't touch the sand, okay? Now, also, when you're blowing your sand, try not to do it where you're blowing so strong that a lot of the sand kind of ends up all over the place. If that happens, it's okay, because this is science and it's going to be a little messy, and that's okay. But just try not to blow it so you get a lot of sand all over the place. It's going to be a lot to clean up at the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and as you are watching this investigation, I want you to think about what's something that you're wondering. What are you noticing about the sand, and what's happening to it as I am blowing wind through the straw, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing today. Here we go. As you see, I'm getting a little bit of sand on the table, but that's okay. Man, it takes a lot to blow through this little straw. Woo! All right, let's go ahead and stop there. And I want you to look at, what do you see? Well, I see that there's some sand right here that got on to the house. So the sand was traveling. It was moving from one spot to another. The wind was actually picking up the sand again, and it was moving. As you can see here, there are little piles of sand that's starting to build. There's also sand around the surrounding part of the house and the trees, which is what we see here. So this is pretty much showing you that when the wind blows and how strong the wind can actually blow is determining how sand is moving from one place to the next, okay? So this was just an imitation of erosion. So erosion is the process that we're mimicking, and is showing wind picking up sand and rock and moving it into another place. That is erosion, guys. That is what we're talking about today. Erosion. And remember, what we just mimicked in our investigation, even though it is a change that occurred very quickly, we have to remember that erosion and weathering are processes that take long periods of time to change the Earth's surface, to change the land, and to change the environment around an area. So it definitely takes a long period of time for something to occur and for you to start to notice a change. But we again have to think about if we continue to blow, use our straw to blow um, the sand onto the house and the surrounding area, what would have happened? Would we've seen more sand on this house and the surrounding area? I think we would have. So that ends our investigation today. But we're going to go ahead and watch a little video to learn a little bit more about what erosion is. So thank you again for joining us. And I am so glad that you came back to Miss Harrell's Science Lab. And next week, guys, we have a special holiday science experiment, and I am so excited and ready for it. I hope you are too. Until then, ciao, Bella. Bye.